少年ジャンプス。
Hello! Welcome back. This is a special episode of the Shonen Chumps podcast. You might have just noticed that I actually said the name of our podcast for once. This is because at this point in time, we've actually come up with a name. Anyways, today's episode, we didn't watch a series, we watched a movie that just came out called Your Name. My name's Brennan.
I'm Sean.
I'm Dylan.
And today we're actually coming to you from our old university. We're in a lecture hall. That's why it sounds kind of different, maybe?
Should we be saying that?
Yeah, man, fuck it. Fuck the fourth wall. You're with us right now. You're hanging out. You're at our old university. I won't say the name. Anyways.
All we can say is that it was close to the theater we watched it at.
I feel like an anime professor right now.
Yeah,
I'm on a stage.
We shouldn't be here. We're just squatting. Hopefully we don't get kicked out.
Yeah. And we don't know when we're going to release this podcast. I think sooner than, we'll probably throw it in the middle of the episodes, I think, right?
Yeah. This might not come out. This is going to fuck up our sequence somehow. So don't think too hard about it. Anyways, we just watched a movie.
Your Name.
Your Name.
Which I haven't done a shitload of research on it, but I think it was the top grossing anime in Japan in history.
Yes.
Anime period or anime
movie. Sorry, anime movie.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's still pretty big.
Yeah. You know?
Yeah, it kicked ass through in Japan last year, and it came out in North America on April 7th.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And we're seeing it just a couple days later.
Yes.
Now, here's the thing. When you first told us that, it didn't quite click in my head. I was like, random anime movie comes out in Japan, is suddenly very popular. Maybe it's just like a fantastic movie. Maybe it's just been swept up by the hype, and maybe people love it because it's great. Or maybe there's someone behind this that the hype's attached to.
Like the Illuminati?
Yeah, that's what I thought he was getting at, too.
It's a conspiracy.
This is all
it's
ploy.
It's a hype conspiracy. No, what I didn't realize with that is that this, again, I didn't do any research about this either, but the entire time we were watching this movie, I was thinking, this reminds me of a different anime movie that I watched in high school called 5 centimeters per second. And that was directed by a guy named Makoto Shinkai. I guess he directed Your Name too, which is why it seems so familiar.
What else has he directed? Anything?
I'm not sure. See, here's the thing. I wasn't familiar with him previously. I didn't realize that he was maybe an auteur of sorts.
Right.
Well, definitely. I mean, we ran into someone we know at the theater, and he said he talked about many of his movies. He said this was his prettiest movie. So
he said, "Yeah, I'm a Shinkai fan."
Yeah, he did say that.
The whole time I was thinking, I was like, "This movie is just as pretty as 5 centimeters per second." The aesthetic is very similar. Right. It does involve two characters in love. There's some riding of trains and Japanese fields and scenery like that.
Right.
So
they've got a great train system.
Yeah, did you see the bullet train in?
Speaking of trains, but not really speaking of trains, I should take this moment to say that we're going to be spoiling this movie probably.
Oh, yeah, wait. Let this be the
we'll
spoiler
try to not
alert.
go crazy.
Right.
Oh, no, that's not true.
No,
we'll probably spoil it.
We're
That's
gonna
right.
get into
Yeah,
it.
that's right.
As we always do.
It was the top 5. I was thinking back to that. All right, go on.
Yeah. So let this be spoiler warning. Run and hide at your local theater and go watch Your Name. If
and
you
then
haven't
record a podcast about it.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. That's our job. You're just listening. Anyways.
What did you guys think of the movie? Just first sentence pitch. I mean, not pitch, but impressions.
Okay, so first impression. It made me nostalgic because it made me think of high school. because that's when I watched 5 centimeters per second. And when I watched that movie, I was all caught up in my emotions, and I was like, oh, this is so beautiful. I'm so sad. Oh, I wish I loved somebody. And I kind of got that again watching Your Name. It was an amazing story. I love the story. I thought it was beautiful. It's a visual spectacle. But it didn't quite give me that feeling that I got in high school. Maybe watching this as a younger person, you might have a different experience than being an old, jaded prick like me.
Dylan? Want to follow that?
How do I follow that? I loved it. And from the beginning, I was just dumbfounded by how pretty it was visually. And not even at the end of the movie, toward the beginning, I was like, this is probably one of the best things I've watched. Like, it was stunning visually, and I thought it was like an incredible story. I thought the voice acting was great. I feel like we'll talk more about that later.
As we do.
But I was floored.
Nice. Sean?
Okay, to be brief, I think I liked it a lot. And it looked...
I think I liked it a lot.
Classic Sean, non-committal response.
Never sure.
So yeah, I think I liked it a lot. It was definitely really pretty, and it made me want my own pair of boobs to touch.
Yeah.
That's that.
Yeah.
All right.
I guess that's a podcast.
I love that was something that continued throughout.
Oh my God.
Even at those moments where they were like pulling on your heartstrings at the end.
Best recurring joke. It's so good because it just mixes those two emotions.
Yeah.
The whole theater was like dying.
Yeah.
And so relatable because like, I mean, every guy's got to like wonder about what that feels like. And that's not even like a heterosexual thing. Like I just imagine just like any body that is not yours that is just anatomically different would be strange.
That you happen to wake up
that would just be weird.
It's a natural
to
novelty.
Feel like what that is.
I think I brought this up on one of our other podcasts that may or may not have been released by the time you're hearing this one. I brought up Ranma Half, that show with the dude who falls into like cursed water, and whenever he touches a temperature of water, he turns into a female.
That's not out yet because that was our, I won't say episode. Anyways, spoilers, future spoilers. Go on.
But I don't know. That reminded me of this. Just a boy waking up as a girl.
Yeah.
Some similar vibes there of suddenly having boobs.
See, one thing that I wish they kind of tuned in on more. Okay, wait. First and foremost, I did love this. This was very, very good. And any criticism going forward isn't me knocking this movie. Because,
it's all love.
Yeah, my bottom line is that this was great. What I did think, though, was that they didn't put enough panic into it, or like just for the sake of realism. If you woke up in like a stranger's body and a stranger of the opposite sex's body, I feel like you'd be a lot more freaked out than they were. I mean, initially they did just kind of write it off as a dream, but when they realized that it wasn't a dream, I feel like there should have been more than just a single scream in unison where they're like, this isn't a dream.
Yeah, there is some suspension of disbelief that's required.
Right. I think like part of what you're saying is right, but also I think that that's like the main plot line in the movie is that they never realize it's not a dream until the very end.
I mean, yeah,
in a way.
But what I'm saying is I wish they played it up a little more before they started jumping into writing notes to one another, being like, don't fuck my life up.
Right. But like the movie got away with that with like comedy.
I mean, for sure.
Yeah.
It's not
there was that whole
didn't.
Montage, right? Yeah.
It's not like it didn't pull it off. It pulled off everything that it did. But that was my one thought when that happened. I was like, I wonder if they should be freaking out more.
Right.
Yeah, and okay, Sean, I want to go back to what you said because I don't know if they only realized that it. I don't agree that they only realized it wasn't a dream right at the end. I think the thing was they realized much earlier on. But then, because they keep forgetting, is where they're kind of in this limbo state where they don't know what's real. Or it seems like they knew they were missing something important.
Yeah.
Right? So, it like plays with the idea of dreams a lot. Like, I think you're obviously right. Like, they realized it, but then they forget, and then they remember, and then they forget. But they only like realize, and then I assume they realize this forever at the very end, like in the last scene, right?
Yeah, because they're together again.
Now,
because they meet like outside of the dream.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
No.
I don't know if we're jumping the gun by talking about the end, so we can save this for later. But
I don't think it matters.
do this
but
as
so you said like at the end they remember everything, but I wonder if they truly remember all of that stuff that happened, or if now they're just somehow drawn to each other and that's all they know.
That's an interesting idea.
Right?
Yeah.
Because, like, that's what I was almost taking from it. Like, both of them felt like they were missing something. We mostly got his perspective at the end. Like, I felt like I'm missing something. We don't really see her for a while in the kind of...
And then,
like the ending of the movie.
Because it follows him. As
Yeah,
he's an adult,
exactly.
5 years after the fact.
Right, exactly. And
Which I think is fair because the beginning of the movie seems to follow her. A fair bit.
Exactly. No. I think it's fair, and I think that reveal of her is more meaningful. If we saw both of them in Tokyo, right, both being like, I'm missing something, then they meet. Obviously, they're gonna meet, but it wouldn't feel as much of a reward. But just having him just being like glimpsing her, but not really getting to see her, and I think we and him get to see her at the same time. I guess.
I think the movie is making some sort of universal statement about love and how everybody who's fallen in love has like they're trying to gain something that they missed and maybe had before or were a part of before, and maybe they were like reaching towards it again, and that's all that like love is.
That's an interesting take.
Guys, I feel like other movies have tackled this. Like this sort of thing, like trying to regain something that you've lost, that you've forgotten about.
Right.
Definitely. I can't think of like something off the top of my head, but I feel like I've seen movies like that.
I mean, even in just you saying that, that is all a relationship kind of boils down to in a way.
Right.
Is he trying to regain that feeling that you once had at one point?
I think you're thinking about it differently than...
Am I? No, I mean, like, that's an interesting way of looking at it. But yeah, you're right. Like, other movies and media in general have run that path quite a bit.
This,
totally.
Without, like, spoiling anything besides Your Name, this movie reminded me a lot of, like, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
This is a movie that you told me to watch.
Themes-wise, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, like, a literal plot, beat for beat, but, like, a lot of themes, a lot of similarities, maybe if they don't have like a direct correlation to Eternal Sunshine.
Yeah.
There's like a lot of cool similarities there. And both like really good movies.
I haven't
like
seen
some great movies, yeah.
Unfortunately.
Tragedy.
I saw it. Anyways.
But yeah, that you guys were saying films have probably done that before. That's true, but it still doesn't make, this any less poignant. And I'm not saying that you are saying that, but it's like that's like, I guess, to get all mushy, right? Like the beautiful thing about like love, like you see love in so many like storytelling mediums.
It's a trope.
It doesn't ever not pull, like it doesn't ever not affect you, right? If it's done well.
Yeah.
Because it can be like the bottom line, like the biggest common denominator amongst everyone is that everybody wants to be loved in some capacity or like has experienced that to some extent or another.
Yeah.
But wait, also speaking about the ending, I like that they didn't tie it up real corny. I mean, I feel like I'd be surprised if they did, where they like have some big reunion scene and it's just like, oh, there you go, it's definitely happy. Because like for all we know, they could have just been like, I've seen you somewhere, anyways, bye. I mean, unlikely, but
probably not. But
probably not. But I really like the end when it just kind of panned up and then we got the title shot again.
I was thinking during the whole like last 10 minutes of the movie that I wanted it to end with more ambiguity.
Yeah.
Like I think they went too far with trying to give me payoff. I wanted it kind of be like maybe they see each other on the train and you kind of see him like glimpse towards her or something, but it just cuts and you never see them actually approach.
Like the ending of Inception.
It's almost like the entire movie, even the opening credits with the song playing.
Yeah, it's cyclical. It's like it flashes back to that at the end of the movie. Like that whole you mean the actual song?
I mean the
like
actual
the
song sequence, where they're like aging up and down and shit.
No, I was referring to like the actual intro of the movie where they're like, oh, I wake up every day missing something.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that's interesting too.
Yeah.
So wait, go on. So for the end, the ambiguity.
I would have been like so happy if the main dude character was just talking about how he spent these 5 years waking up every day not feeling full on the inside. He feels like kind of empty, and he just gets onto like his daily train, and he looks like somber or whatever, and then it like maybe pans to the left and you see that she's also on the same train,
Right.
and the train just rides off, and then it goes to credits.
I wouldn't have minded that. I was hoping kind of for some ambiguity too.
The thing is, I think they kind of ruined that though with that scene where they're on the bridge and they pass by each other but don't say anything.
Yeah, that was weird. That was almost unnecessary. It's like if you're gonna bring it back
didn't mind
again. Well, I mean, it's fine because they didn't notice each other because they couldn't remember. But I feel like it almost undercut the very end where they actually did run into each other.
I agree.
So no, I guess I'm with you on the ambiguity part. I'm not sure exactly what it could have been. I even just like the end, like when they walk by and he turned around, that could have even been an ending. Like him turning around before he like said
On the bridge, you mean? Like
oh no, on the staircase. I'm just pitching other examples for ambiguity.
Right. Yeah.
The end just kind of like, can I ask you your name? I actually would have been down for that to be just like, can I ask you?
Yeah.
Or something.
Here's the thing.
And you see your name pop up with like explosions for each word. Your name.
Fireworks, comments.
Yeah,
for
maybe
each-
that would
each
have been a
letter. Here's the thing. I agree that would probably make a much better ending altogether. It might make it like a better film even, but it wouldn't make half the theater start crying. I feel like they, just for the genre maybe, like they needed that tiny bit of mush just to get everybody all teary-eyed, because when the lights went up, like half the people around us were just sobbing into one another. I don't know if you noticed, but
Yeah.
I
Say
feel like the
sobbing is probably too.
Yeah, that's
there was
a strong.
there was a guy behind us who had tears down his face and he was red as.
But he wasn't making noises.
No, he wasn't. Thank fuck. But yeah, I feel like the little line where she turns around, she's got tears in her eyes, and she's like, I think I know you from somewhere. I think that was necessary for like this style of story at least. So I don't think it was bad.
No, I don't think it was bad either, but
But it could have
saying,
been
like,
better.
I agree with Sean that there could have been more ambiguity. I was thinking about that too. The other thing is just like when he turns around and they both say at the same time, like, can I ask you your name? That's what I felt like was like real cheesy. Like I would have been down for them to say
Like
something
in unison?
else. Yeah, that's why. Like I wish I would have been down for them to say something else. You know?
Right, yeah.
Just like I feel like I was starting to get emotional, not like to the point of tears, but I was like, oh man. But then when that happened, it took me out of it slightly, just because it was the unison thing. Just
Right,
like,
yeah,
can I ask
yeah.
you your name? And then it kind of came
Then the
up.
title came. Yep.
Yeah.
The thing is, like the whole
But I still loved it.
whole movie, like from the beginning going into each act, the movie like kept surprising me in different ways.
Yeah.
Like, oh, they're switching bodies is the first thing you realize. Then you realize that they're in different like time periods and all this stuff, which is
The
super
big
interesting and
twist
cool.
every time. Yeah.
Yeah, but then at the last act, there were no surprises. There was just, I know that this thing's inevitably coming, which is them meeting.
Right.
Right.
I wonder, or I don't even wonder how it's going to happen. So I think like showing us everything that we expected, I think like, yeah, it's par for the course of like what type of
Yeah.
movie this is. I think it could have been like, it could have like elevated itself to like Inception level,
Right.
where the
Yeah.
spinning top, like, is it going to stop falling,
Yeah.
or stop spinning
Yeah,
at the
yeah,
end?
I think
Yeah.
you start to see it wobbling. Like I remember just in the theater after it ended, being like, just like my hands
what
were
the
up,
fuck?
like, no, you can't do that to me. But it was
Yeah.
an ultimately better ending because I just like, what?
Right.
Here's
Yeah.
the thing though.
Inception spoiler.
Watch out if you haven't watched
Sorry.
Inception.
I mean, it's 8 years old now. So
Yeah, if
Seen
you
that.
haven't watched that yet, you're a fuck
I think
up.
it's like 8 years old.
The thing is, the last arc of the girl character, whose name I can't remember, ironically, before we see her as an adult 5 years on and she survived.
Mitsuha?
Mitsuha, is it? Do you have it
I just
pulled
like
up?
looked it up. Mitsuha.
Mitsuha. Anyways, that last arc where we see her before she becomes an adult in Tokyo, and we see her again, and it's like, oh, she survived. You technically don't know what's going to happen because it just shows her running up to her dad's office with a determined look in her eyes, and she's like, oh, I'm going to convince him to get people to evacuate, and he has a moment of realization where he's like, oh, I've never seen her like this before. But it's not the same moment of realization where he sees the dude in her body and he's like, you're not my daughter. So you
Yeah.
kind of know it's like she can't be that determined and then have it cut off and be a cliffhanger and then it not resolve itself. That would be way too unconventional. That would piss
It'd
people off.
be pretty dumb too, like, to be honest.
Would it? If she just actually just
If
died?
she couldn't convince him and then
She died a second
he
time?
just like but like think of like that wouldn't really make sense. Like
It would.
he just like longs for something and then he's like, oh, I was really upset with that accident. Too bad 500 people died. And like that's how the movie ends.
That would be
No
infuriating.
way. Like it just wouldn't make sense story wise at all.
Yeah.
Like it wouldn't even be like, ooh, what a crazy twist. It'd be like, no,
That's
dumb.
dumb.
Yeah.
Where was my payoff?
Yeah.
But yeah.
It'd be pretty jokes.
But I mean, that's the thing. You kind of know it's going to work out in the end.
Yeah. But I think after we finish.
Guys, I got a little bit of room. And I'll ask you guys to back up.
Okay.
Okay.
No problem.
Thanks.
Thanks. To be continued.
We got booked.
Shonen Chumps.
Hey, we're back. We got kicked out of the room we were in, but we found a new room to squat in.
A new room to get kicked out of.
Stay tuned for that.
Hopefully not. If it sounds significantly shittier in here, we're sorry. The last room we were in was almost kind of soundproof in a way.
Yeah, now I don't feel like an anime professor. I feel like an anime student.
Yeah, we're not on a stage anymore.
I feel like a chump.
I do feel like a chump. I've gone from
Shonen.
senpai to kohai.
This is getting too meta. Back to your name. What were we talking about? The movie. Let's talk about what happened.
Yeah.
Sean?
So a dude and a girl wake up one day finding out that they've switched bodies,
Yes.
right?
But that is presented as a twist because they lead up to it with just focusing on the girl who wakes up one day and it's a normal day, but everybody around her says she's been acting weird, but she can't remember why that is. She can't remember what happened. And then...
Well, hold on. I just want to say one thing. The cool thing, or that I thought they did, or what was interesting at least, was we see Taki's first day, or sorry, when she's like inside him controlling him, we see what that's like.
Yeah,
But
we don't
from
see
her
it.
perspective, we don't see like his first day in her body. We
Right.
see the first scene where he wakes up in her body and feels her boobs.
Yeah.
And then
that's
she
it.
comes downstairs, and then it's actually like the next day.
Right, yeah.
And then they say like, "Oh, you were acting so weird yesterday," so we don't actually see that. But that was a pretty kind of interesting
Yeah,
choice.
it's cool how we get a
Right.
secondhand account. I like how this story doesn't tell itself in a linear fashion, which is very appropriate thinking about the whole theme of
Because-
time jumping
yeah.
and what have you.
Yeah, exactly, right? And it's jumping back and forth and presenting. So not only are they existing in two different timelines, right?
Yeah.
Like
It's
3
very
years
smart.
apart. But it's also in their own experiences, we're jumping around constantly. We're seeing their different days. So that was interesting
Right.
too.
Yeah.
And also, like, in the opening of the movie, like, the theme song part, it shows them, like, aging up and down, like, constantly.
Right.
So it's, like, assuming all of this to go somewhere. Like, I was assuming they'd all be older at some point in the movie.
Yeah, it all kind of felt like a flash forward in a way. It almost felt like a spoiler. It's like, hey, why are you showing me these things? I feel like I shouldn't be seeing them right now.
I guess it's because, like, I remember seeing that, but like it's also hazy to me.
Yeah,
like,
it
the
was kind of a
distinct
blur.
details.
yeah.
And so I think maybe the idea was probably just being when you're immersed kind of in the film, you're almost forgetting what the beginning, like that opening scene was.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And then it kind of comes back.
Right.
And when you see it again, or you see them at like the ages or whatever, then
It's funny that
they're
it
almost reminded in that way.
reminds you.
Yeah.
The whole theme of forgetting and remembering things. It brings back those pertinent details that it just kind of like teases you with, but it kind of goes over your head because you're like, this out of context means nothing. So
Right.
why would I remember this? But yeah, that was interesting. And also in the way that, I mean, I guess it's not a spoiler if you think about every other anime theme song we've ever encountered that kind of gives a preview of what's to come in regards to characters and places and things like that. When the theme song was happening, I just tuned out basically, as I tend to do.
Like
when,
of the film?
like when the theme song is happening
Oh.
to any anime, I'm just like, yeah, this is
It's
the
like,
theme song.
Oh, in general, yeah.
It's
yeah.
very common in anime, and like just I find like a bunch of Japanese things like games.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Is that they spoil so much of it in the theme.
Yeah.
Like they'll show you characters that you meet in like episode 25 in the opening of the show.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
it's
is
very
weird.
odd, but interesting. It's an interesting take.
Yeah. Was there anything else that you wanted to say regarding the plot? Because like, what happens after that? When they the first big twist is when they figure out that they're in one another's body, and then they start fucking with each other's lives.
And that's when it launches into that montage.
Yeah.
Which is probably one of the most comedic.
It's
parts
really
of the
funny.
movie,
Yeah,
I think,
I liked
right?
it a lot.
Yeah, when they're like messaging back to each other, like writing on each other's arms.
stay
and
out of
stuff.
my yeah. Stop
Like
doing this.
we need to have
no
rules.
baths.
No baths. Yeah.
Don't look. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's funny when she goes to pee in the morning and she thinks she's dreaming in like the first chunk of the movie where
Yeah.
she's like, ugh.
And she goes to pee in the guy's body, and she's like, "That was too real."
yeah.
That was pretty
Yeah.
funny.
Oh god.
Oh man, yeah. There's a lot of humor in the movie that I didn't expect.
Yeah, just watching the whole theater erupt with laughter when you see the guy, Taki or whatever, you don't realize it's the girl in his body, or maybe you do. Maybe I'm just dumb. And then he goes to like touch his junk, and then he like blushes because he's like, "Oh my god, I have a dick."
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
How fast did it occur to you that it was people switching bodies?
I mean, at that point, basically.
Yeah, so here's the thing. So earlier today, I mentioned to you guys that I glanced a log line.
Right, yeah.
That was part of the log line.
So to our
I
listeners that don't
knew-
know what a log line is, it's like you saw like a sentence summary of the movie. Or
Yeah,
like,
it's like picture what you open in a TV guide, or more recently, if you're watching TV and you click info on a TV show, it might have one sentence about what it's about.
yeah.
That was basically what I glanced at today by accident because we watched the dub. By the way, I guess we
Yeah,
should have
oh,
mentioned
yeah.
that. So we watched the dub today, and when we were talking about seeing the dub, I had the thought that what if the dub sucks?
Right. Yeah.
And that was a concern. So then I just Googled something like, dub reviews of Your Name, and then I ended up seeing a log line. So it said something about two people switching bodies, but I think I just saw switching bodies.
Right.
So I didn't know the details, but it was apparent to me
That was
much sooner than I guess most people. I
Right.
would have much rather gone in cold, like completely,
Yeah.
like you guys did.
yeah. I
Yeah.
had no idea.
I think. Well, I had no idea going into the movie, but I clued in on it like within like 5 seconds.
You mean like the first scene?
Well, it gives away just the fact that
like the
yeah.
first scene of the girl like just waking up and looking down through her shirt. I was like, that wouldn't happen unless she's not in her body.
Right,
They never
yeah,
showed
yeah,
that shot.
agreed.
I
That's
thought
true.
two things ran through my mind. Like in the split second that it showed the camera shot of her looking down her own shirt
Yeah.
was this is the day she's waking up and finally realizes that she has boobs.
That's
Nope.
what I thought.
And I'm like, nope, it's not that. She switched bodies with the guy. There's no other possibility that this movie could be about.
Because she's so
Because
fascinated
that
by
would
them.
be
Yeah, yeah.
any guy's reaction, as we said, right? Just
Exactly,
like
yeah.
anatomically, it'd be weird to
I
see
mean-
your body different.
I just thought it was like initially I was like maybe this is a coming of age story of some kind, and
Yeah.
she's just like I have boobs now, but it
Right.
becomes pretty apparent quite quickly that that's not the case.
Yeah, part of the reason why the movie's so funny is because you get to see the feminine side to this guy, and you get to see like the more aggressive male side to this girl.
Well,
I mean, not like it's a
technically
side
their
of
side,
them,
yeah.
but it's just
their
you know what I
body
mean.
doing that.
Yeah,
On that topic, I would love to commend at least the English actors on their job because they did a good job of conveying like a feminine version of the character and a masculine. I'm using air quotes right now.
Finger
People
quotes.
can't see.
Right.
Like their voices sounded different, but the same.
Yeah.
did the
right?
female's voice sound different?
No.
Yeah.
Well, I
Us,
mean,
yeah, it did,
She was
'cause
more
she sounded-
commanding in tone, but it's
Right.
not like her voice dropped in pitch or anything.
Right.
I
Right.
thought hers was even better because
The male
Because
voice was a
subtle?
bit played
because
up.
it was subtle. Exactly.
yeah.
That's interesting.
Exactly.
I didn't
yeah.
even pick up on it. Like halfway
Too
through
subtle?
halfway in the movie, I'm like, oh wait, the guy's changing his voice a lot. I wonder if the girl is. And then I tried to
Oh,
listen for it,
really?
but I
Yeah.
kept forgetting to listen to it. Like it was
Uh-huh.
way. I'm not gonna say too subtle. It was fine.
Did you,
I just didn't
did you
realize
pick up
it.
on it? Brandon?
That's the thing. It's like it wasn't. I agree. I think it was almost too subtle because it wasn't super apparent right off the bat. I mean, you could tell because he was more baffled in her body, and it's like, oh, he's out of place. It's the guy in her body. But the only noticeable difference is the way he puts her hair up. because he can't braid it as nicely as she does and put the ribbon in.
Right.
He just ties it into a ponytail, so that's like how I immediately kind of assigned who's in whose body at what time.
Yeah, that's an interesting signifier for like who's in her body at the time.
Yeah.
Also, given that the fact like near the end of the movie, or the last act where they stop switching bodies ish to some extent, her hair is gone, like she cuts it off.
Right. Yeah.
Which is like you don't need to pay attention to that necessarily anymore because
Exactly.
it's not a part of the story for
Yeah.
now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. Nice touch.
Yeah, but dude, this movie is pretty funny. I can't say I wasn't expecting that because I had no idea what this movie was about. I expected some sort of humor.
Yeah.
And like it definitely like paid off. Like it was funny.
Yeah,
It was
definitely.
yeah.
Definitely a nice experience watching it in a theater and everyone laughing together.
Oh,
too,
for sure.
right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Makes you feel like you're not a dork for finding anime humor to be
Yeah.
great.
Right, yeah. Because
And
I
they
think
were
it was
sweet moments,
It was
too.
funny for
Yeah, it was cute.
for like good, funny reasons. Like it had
Yeah.
good jokes. It wasn't just like cheap humor.
Yeah, for
Or like
sure.
a character like weirdly wiggling around with like a sweat drop going down their forehead.
You're referring to tiny Edward Elric specifically.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Every short rant.
Right. So yeah, I thought that was really cool. They like pulled off humor really well. The little sister character was fucking awesome.
Oh, so
yeah,
good.
yeah, she was
So good.
brilliant. Yeah.
The timing was good. A lot of the dialogue and everything was really snappy and just
Yeah.
witty and interesting. That's where a lot of the humor came
So
from.
wait, what did you guys think of the voice actors? Otherwise, like I thought they were.
I think they
pretty
did
great.
a really good
Yeah.
job because it didn't pull me out at any time. I was fully immersed.
And that's something that does concern you.
Yeah, generally.
With dubs, right? Like that's
we talk
you've-
about
you've
this
said
every
that.
episode.
Yeah.
The dubs usually pull me out of it when I notice it not syncing up with the mouth as well as the subs would.
Right.
But this wasn't the case at all because the acting was so convincing. I was like, yeah, this is fine.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't want anything to pull me out of the experience. I hate pulling out. But yeah, the English voice acting is really good. It's nice to hear like you guys like being proponents for it, because like usually.
Wait, I usually am. though.
no, I know, yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
But I walk the line. I guess.
Winning me over. This isn't, I mean, we've mentioned this already. We're not recording this in sequence of release probably, so this will probably come out a lot earlier, and you'll see, well, you won't see, you'll hear our subs v dub banter in the coming episodes, I guess, even more so if you haven't already. But usually I'm on the side of subs. But since we've discussed it more, I'm starting to lean more and just be generally more accepting and go out of my way to watch the dub nowadays for whatever we happen to be watching.
Yeah, that's cool. I think regardless, I would be curious to see your name
In
sub.
sub?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like might as well, right? Give it a chance.
I mean, yeah.
Like I'd be down to. I liked the movie enough that I would go see it
Definitely,
again,
Yeah.
and I'd see it subbed.
Right. Yeah, I'd be open to it.
Maybe
honestly.
let's do that. Yeah.
We should.
That'd be
When's
fun.
the next showing?
Yeah.
Are we too late?
If we run there right now, we'll be halfway through the movie.
Yeah, yeah. And we won't have seats because there was a long line.
Oh, yeah. That
Oh,
was
dude,
cool.
yeah, these theaters were packed.
I mean, it just came out
Just a
on
couple days
Friday,
ago, yeah.
in North America, so everybody is
And today is Tuesday.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know if anybody has any idea how long it's going to be in theaters for. Probably like a pretty limited run.
Exactly. So people are busting down the doors to
Yeah.
get a glimpse.
Oh, okay, that reminds me of like something I want to bring up. This movie is like really quiet.
Yo, I noticed that.
There's entire like what feels like 15-minute stretches where, I mean, obviously there's dialogue, but there's
Yeah.
not like music. There's not like too much background noise.
Even
It's
then,
just-
the dialogue is sparse.
Yeah.
So it's like there are legit moments of silence where I guess the movie's just trying to get you to feel, just to soak
Right.
in whatever's happening.
Yeah, I
which is
love
effective.
that.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it made me really nervous because I didn't want someone to like sneeze or cough. And
take
like,
you out of it?
break the
Right.
experience. Yeah.
That's like, this has nothing to do with the movie right now, but
Yeah.
whenever a movie is quiet, I get extremely anxious. I'm like, I should be watching this at home.
Yeah.
I
Where
don't-
I know no one will interrupt me.
Just 200 strangers sitting in silence freaks me out.
But that's part of it, right? Because
yeah.
there was like that huge silence before you see the explosion.
Oh
Right,
yeah,
right.
that
The
impact
meteor.
is silent.
Yeah, and you're just like the impact's silent, and then they.
Yeah,
the
which
aftershock
makes
or
it
whatever, yeah.
more powerful.
Right. Yeah.
That was crazy. That was so tense.
Yeah.
also like I think the movie wasn't in surround sound. It was
Yeah.
like just like dual
Stereo?
speaker.
It was
Yeah, like
kind of
stereo.
It wasn't
so like
5.1, yeah.
Yeah. So it didn't sound too loud and it didn't sound like too encompassing.
Yeah.
I mean, this obviously has nothing to do with the movie itself. It just has to do with like
Yeah.
the theater experience.
Our
Yeah.
experience of watching it.
Yeah.
I noticed that.
So, like,
it
Right,
didn't
but
pull me
people
out.
who watch it in theaters would like value what you're saying.
Right, yeah. So it was like a quiet movie in a quiet environment. Which
Yeah.
is like something, like it just immediately felt different than a regular movie.
Right.
Which I guess is like good, but odd. Yeah.
I mean, I don't remember a lot about 5 centimeters per second, but I feel like a lot of the pacing was very similar. So I feel like that could just be like a stylistic thing that we can attribute to the director.
Right.
Yeah, I really love those silences, especially because we talked about what a pretty looking anime this was.
Yeah.
And just moments of silence where all you can do is just like stare and not be distracted by anything else were like I think really powerful for that reason.
Yeah.
There were so many times where I was just looking at the screen and just thinking like this is beautiful.
Oh yeah.
I think
This is
I know-
beautiful.
I did that sometimes, and I'm not like a master of animation to any extent. I don't like not even like knowledge about animation, obviously, but you could tell, or I could tell, just the way that they showed a shot on the camera and then panned the camera over or shifted to another angle. It's something that a lot of anime like shows wouldn't do because they want to like put as little effort into like making a shot as possible.
Yeah.
I need to explain this
there
a
were
little
some
bit.
like 3D graphics and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to explain. Like
Which
it
worked
would show
well.
characters walking home, like down a street, but then pan over and show the lake beside them. But just that pan motion of the camera would mean that they'd have to draw the characters at different angles, like a bunch of small different angles,
Yeah.
almost making the characters look 3D.
Or
Yeah.
even
Which is something that a show would shy away from because they'd only show the characters as being flat.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't want to put the
Saves
effort into
money.
like exactly, or it saves like time.
Time,
like just a
yeah.
bunch of things.
Yeah.
But this movie just like I guess did it, and it ended up looking really cool. It made a lot of things look 3D, even though I'm pretty sure they weren't 3D
Yeah, that's
models.
the thing. It
yeah,
wasn't
Yeah.
like janky. Like it didn't come off like a 3D anime.
yeah, because when there's 3D in anime, it's usually jarring.
Exactly.
Like that movie I can't remember that came out recently with the giant turtle that I haven't
Oh,
gotten a chance to
it's-
see.
Was it the red turtle? I think it's the
Yeah,
red
it's
turtle,
like
something that.
pretty well received and like
Or
out there.
some
Yeah.
of the new Berserk movies, which are
Or just like a lot of new anime. But yeah,
Yeah.
so like I respected that, like their ability to move cameras in interesting ways and then like work their way around that just by I guess drawing more frames and like putting like some more like elbow grease into the animations look really nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so like, they weren't just like it wasn't just one pretty picture. It was like cinematography. It was
Exactly.
like beautiful,
Exactly,
like
yeah.
composition, camera movement. Those were all thought out things that went into this.
yeah. Even that first scene where Taki wakes up in the girl's body, there's a first person perspective shot where he looks around the room and you see the inside of the
Right,
room,
yeah.
and that's all like 3D.
And he looks
whatever.
down her shirt.
Exactly. That's the beginning of that
Yeah,
shot.
that's what I was talking
So
Yeah.
it's like they could have just shown that from a distance, from like him just looking around and being all confused, but
They went the extra mile.
and it
Dude, you just
paid
remind
off.
me. I was thinking this during the movie. I didn't want to like exaggerate this point, but I haven't seen depth of field be used in an anime like this before. I think like there were so
Yeah.
many shots in this where only the extreme
Yeah.
foreground is in focus, and then it'll like push the focus to the very like background.
Right.
Like it'll go through whole environments where everything is like very out of focus, and it used depth of field in like a really interesting way.
Yeah.
All these like filmic techniques.
At the beginning, I think I said like it or I don't know if I said I loved it and I was stunned by it, and it made me love anime more, but it made me love like film more. I was like, oh my god,
Wow,
you
move
fucking
cameras are
loved
sick.
this movie.
it was
Yeah.
beautiful.
Christ. It was
I'm
really
right
good.
now. I'm talking more visually than
Right,
anything,
right,
but I
right.
did also like love it story wise too.
Right.
But I just like everything that you're talking about because I guess I really appreciate like cinematography, especially. I'm like really
Right.
interested in that.
Yeah.
So everything you're talking about like
Makes
hit me
sense.
hard. Yeah, it was great.
I remember in the past, I know the viewers might have maybe not listened to our Mob Psycho episode, depending on if it's up. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe.
I mentioned that the characters
so.
in that are outlined in green.
Green.
In the Digimon movie, they're outlined in like red when they're in the internet, or the Digimon are
And
at
then
least.
green
in this movie, I couldn't like pinpoint it what they were outlined in, but I saw the characters for like half a second at the very beginning of the movie. I'm like, that's not black. They're not
Yeah.
outlined in black. They're outlined in something that's not black.
I didn't
Which is
notice that
interesting to
again.
me. I get fascinated by this shit. Just like their color palette was like,
It's like small details.
yeah. It almost seemed like they were outlined in like a dark brown or something. Like I don't know. It just made them like easier on the eyes.
Yeah,
I
the
want to
whole-
say
The whole
yeah.
movie was
Because
very
they're
easy
not
on
like
the-
harder lines.
Yeah, it
because
was like
they're
gentler.
not black.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? Somebody listening to this right now could be like, it was totally black.
Yeah.
And I'm wrong.
Well, the thing-
either way, it looked nice.
Yeah, so like you mentioned the mob thing being in green, and Brennan and I didn't notice.
Yeah.
And then I went back and I looked at it. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah,
It's all
yeah,
in
yeah.
red, right?
See, that's the
green.
thing. It's
How
a
did I
very
not notice.
It's
Exactly.
a subtle effect. It,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it doesn't. You don't register it right away unless you're looking for it.
Yeah, good
Unless
eye.
I'm me.
Good eye. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're looking at the
I don't know
outline.
why.
But the thing is, it's like you do kind of it registers on like a different level where, like again, the whole aesthetic of the movie felt very like soft and warm and beautiful, like as a whole. Even the destructive, crazy parts where like the city's getting blown to bits,
Right.
were like the colors were muted, and it's like I don't know, the whole feel of it was more gentle and not like severe and like hella stylized or anything like that. And I think that is largely in part to things like the outline color, and
Right.
stuff like that, and like the focus and how much soft
Mm-hmm.
focus there is, and
Yeah.
all of that.
Yeah, it was a lot of just these small details.
Mm-hmm.
Things
very-
you don't actively think about
Very-
unless you're really watching it critically.
It's a polished film,
Yeah.
without a doubt.
Yeah, so something I noticed during the movie was that even though we mentioned that it's quiet during a lot of parts, like there's like huge stretches of silence or no music, there's always things happening. Like I don't think that there was a moment that you could have like missed that would mean that you didn't miss anything in the movie. Like I had to like run out to the bathroom during the movie, and I was like, oh my god, things keep happening on a
Yeah.
30-second basis. A new thing happens that like pushes the plot
I
forward.
was panicking
I
for you.
can't leave. But I think I might have chosen
You
the best
left at
moment
the
to
best
leave.
part. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
You should
when
say what the part is. Yeah.
Yeah, when you left, it was just it was when Taki's in Mitsuha's body, and he's trying to convince the town along with her pals to evacuate.
Right.
And they blow up the generator that provides electricity to their town. And then
Wait,
they just,
I think it was when she was back in her own body. That was after they talked.
she
yeah,
wasn't.
yeah, she
and then
switched
she came
back.
back and she
at
met
that
her
point.
friend. And then,
Yeah.
So I missed like a minute or two
of them running
that,
around
yeah.
being like, "Hey, get out of here!"
Which I'm so happy that that's what I missed, because
Yeah.
if I missed anything else in that movie,
Would've
I would
been
have
critical.
I would have
You'd-
killed myself.
It's funny because
pour your bladder out with both your hands.
Yeah.
I said this before, but I'll say it again for the sake of the podcast. When you walked out, it was just after they had talked on that like hill or whatever, and then you walked out shortly after that. And I thought it was because you got emotional and you just couldn't take it. So I was like, what is happening? Because you just like, it looked like you were debating and then you just immediately stood up and then just walked out. And I was like,
Fuck it.
I was like,
This
oh
is
my
too much.
God.
Man, it just
Did Sean crack?
And it's so funny because there's a line of people outside, so he would have been immediately greeted by a bunch of eager people. Like,
That's
what
the thing.
fuck
I
just
saw
happened there?
I saw the line of people outside, which is pretty long, and they must have all known that the movie was about to end, and they just
Yeah.
see a guy run out like, this guy's gonna go take a piss and the movie's about to be over. Fuck that guy. I've waited 6 months for this movie to come out. No, but
boy.
yeah, I'm glad I left during that time. It's really funny to me that you even had the train of thought that I could have been emotional enough to like storm out of the theater. That's fucking amazing.
Yeah, it occurred to me.
Sean
and then
doesn't feel things.
I figured it out like almost instantly, but once you stood up and started walking down, I was like, what is going on? And then it kind of, but
Yeah.
yeah, that thought crossed my mind. And
That's really funny. I mean, yeah, it was like an emotional movie.
yeah.
I mean,
It was more cute than emotional.
right. Like, there are movies where I felt like maybe I could cry if I had a heart. But this movie, I never felt that way. It was like cutesy and stuff.
Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
it was an adorable movie.
Yeah, I'm like, nice relationship,
warmed
but
me up
it
on
didn't
the
like
inside.
make me feel like,
Pain or panic?
yeah,
There's something awful going on outside.
In
It
the
might be a
Somebody's-
jackhammer.
yeah.
Someone's dragging a desk around or a body. If you can hear that, we're sorry. Anyways.
sorry, that was me with the body. I'll put it down there though. I'll
Thank
get
you.
back to that later.
Thank you, Sean. Don't bring your private life into this. Anyways.
Yeah, so like, yeah, I felt for like the characters.
Yeah.
But I feel like to cry, I'd like it'd have to like make me feel something like, oh my god, I remember that time that I was waking up in the body of a girl 3 years ago. But
Yeah.
I haven't necessarily.
Yeah, I agree. It didn't like pull hard on
There's
the
no,
Yeah.
there's no
it like
pain.
tugged lightly.
Yeah.
In the
right.
middle of the
But
movie
it's
when
still-
like the it kind of gets to a climax where there's the main issue at hand isn't resolved and you're like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? But I feel like that's probably the most. Oh god, what an
Sean,
awful
cut it out, man.
Stop. We said stop. Anyways,
I'm sorry.
How are you in both places?
that was probably the most intense part of the movie where anyone could feel emotional to that degree, where it's like, oh my god, this might not work, this is going to be a sad movie, I'm going to cry because this is filling me with feelings. Because after that point, when they meet on the mountain, they talk to each other for the first time in different time realities or whatever, and then it kind of sort of starts to wrap up after that point. Eventually, that point going forward, you know it's going to be resolved, so you don't feel panic. You just want to know how nicely it's going to be tied up. So you're like, oh my god, I wonder if I'm going to have a nice happy ending, if it's going to be ambiguous. Like, that's the main question in your
Right.
head at that point. You're not like, oh, are they just going to fuck me over at this point? Like, we mentioned this.
Right. I think the whole time you know it's probably, or at
Yeah,
least like
so
a
that's
good way
why-
through, you know everything's gonna work out, but you still like care, I guess.
Yeah,
because
but you can kind
people
of let
you
your
like-
guard down and just sort of absorb the cuteness as it comes in.
Yeah,
it's like, you know it's
I
gonna
agree with that.
it's gonna be adorable. So you just gotta brace for the rest of the movie, basically. And yeah,
I think the movie could have been cool if they were both named Yuri. And they couldn't remember each other's names. Turns out it's the same fucking name.
One
Why
of
do I
them's
keep
Russian.
waking up with my own name written on my palm?
am I forgetting something?
Yeah.
Nah. One of them's a
man.
Russian skater.
Yeah.
Anyways,
That was just a callback to Yuri on Ice in
Or-
case you haven't seen that episode of
I'm
our
gonna
podcast
prove
yet.
myself to Victor.
or maybe a call forward. Oh boy. Boy, oh boy. Boy, on boy. Anyways, for all of you unfamiliar with Yuri on Ice, we're sorry for that.
Go check that out though.
Yeah, great show.
Now back
Amazing.
to business.
Back to your name. What else do you have to say about this?
Oh, music? How'd you guys feel about the music?
Mixed.
I feel like, well, we talked about how a lot of it, like, there's not music in a lot of parts.
Yeah, but
Yes.
Or it's used, like, subtly.
But there were original like,
But, like,
songs.
yeah, at
what
the
was
beginning,
the band called? It
I
was like
can't
Something Wimps.
Super Wimps.
And
No.
Like,
that was like another thing. Like there were some songs made specifically for the dub. Right?
What?
no.
It
that
could
was
just be Janglish.
It was Janglish.
Yeah.
It was
Oh.
a J-pop band just singing.
There was
in that
okay.
English.
So what I remember is that during the movie there were 3 songs, like beginning, middle, end,
Yeah.
where they have vocals in the song.
Yeah.
And I remember during the song in the middle of the movie that had vocals, it was like nail on the head vocals, and I kind of turned
was
to
too
Dylan.
much, yeah.
Didn't really look at him, but I was like about to like squirm in my seat. Like this is just saying what's happening.
Yeah, especially at the beginning with the theme song. That's where I was like, hey, this is not that great.
I gotta say, I immediately wished that all the vocals were taken out of all
Yeah.
the songs. I wish it was just instrumentals.
I mean, everything that was instrumental was nice.
Yeah.
But everything else was kind of.
right, but I don't want to like fuck with the creator's intent. Or
Again,
anything.
yeah.
Just
It's
do,
part of the vision.
You
Do what you
you,
want.
yeah,
Hit us with that jank.
yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
derogatory?
Okay. No.
Is that a slur? Does that
Confirmed.
make any slur?
They localized some songs for the
Oh,
dub.
what?
Yeah. Radwimps.
Radwimps.
Radwimps,
There
yeah.
it is. Are they not a Japanese band?
Yes, this is from an article from Forbes. With the Western release of Your Name looming, the movie is getting a full English dub, and this includes the insert songs by Radwimps.
Holy shit! I guess we need to watch this a second time now.
That's pretty intense.
Wow,
Like-
I've never heard of that before.
So now I'm interested in what the original songs are.
I feel
Yeah.
like if anything, the original songs would sound better to me because I'd be living in blissful ignorance as to what the lyrics are saying.
Yeah.
The lyrics might have even been better because they might have not been in direct translation either.
I mean, I doubt we'd be getting subtitles of the lyrics.
I mean,
No,
they
I
could
know,
be-
you're talking
I know, but I'm just saying, like, maybe even I'm just saying
That
for the
happens.
Japanese
Oh, yeah.
audience, maybe the
Oh,
lyrics
yeah.
weren't so nailed on the
Right.
head.
on the head.
Like me coming from playing the Kingdom Hearts games and like seeing the original theme songs in Japanese and then switching to English and they get like translated to English by the same singer. She like
Yeah.
re-lyricizes the songs into English.
Right.
Super weird.
Yeah, I
But,
can only
yeah.
imagine.
Yeah. Anyway, do we have any like closing thoughts on the movie?
Well, I mean, I just keep saying how much I really enjoyed it and I thought it was pretty. And, I mean, we talked about how we went in cold,
Yeah.
like to the point of not knowing who the director is, for example. I
Right,
didn't even know
yeah.
this guy had other movies. You've seen one of his other movies,
And
Brendan.
it only clicked halfway.
Yeah,
It
so
seemed similar.
I'd love to watch his other stuff because I was definitely intrigued by this movie.
Right.
So I'd love to see more stuff. I'm also really curious about seeing it in Japanese.
Yeah, I'd
because
actually
I
be
liked it
down
that
to
much.
go do that again.
And yeah, just like beautiful film. I really enjoyed it.
Nice.
Sean?
Score it from 0 to 10 or
Wow.
1 to 10.
Oh my
Whoa. Oh no,
goodness.
let's not do that. We're not doing this. We're not. We can't.
Soft score like a soft 5.
We can't bring numbers into this.
Is this for score for like anime or as a film or what?
I don't know. Do you feel a number inside you?
Yeah, it's probably like an 8 or a 9.
Damn, nice. 8.5. I'm kidding. I don't want to say that.
Yeah, maybe
I don't wanna
8.5. Sure,
Put that in your
8.5.
mouth. Yeah, nice.
cool?
8.5 more confidently.
Straight out of
Nice.
Dylan's mouth. You heard it first. Hot off the press. Right here. Shonen Chumps. Dylan Morgan. Whoops.
Shonen Chumps.
Shonen Chumps.
Shonen Chumps. 8.5 from Dylan. Anyways.
Okay,
Sean.
so my impressions. Yeah, I liked the movie a lot. It was really funny. Looked really nice. Maybe I was like expecting a little bit more with the ending. Like I think I liked it a lot. I liked everything that it did.
Yeah.
I might have wanted some more or like expected a bit more just because I knew it was like really high grossing and all this stuff.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, overall I liked it a lot and I would probably recommend it to like almost anybody who, or maybe somebody who wanted to get into anime but
Yeah.
didn't have time for like all of Death Note.
series.
I was thinking that too. Like
Yeah,
people who
exactly.
don't watch animes typically would probably enjoy this.
Almost
Right.
like the way a lot of people who aren't typically into anime like Miyazaki films.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it has like a lot of. It doesn't have a lot of like the anime isms that might like turn some people off that they need to be
there's
like
no niche
initiated
knowledge.
to.
Yeah, there's nothing you need to have going into this to be able to enjoy it.
Right. So I definitely liked it a lot. I'd say I'd probably give it like an 8. Yeah, an 8. So it was like because it was
Great.
better than good. Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
great. Yeah,
Yeah.
great movie.
Nice.
Based on you giving it an 8 with that,
You're-
I think mine's actually a 9 if that's like your 8 with because like I seem to have loved it more than you. I think,
Right, because like
or maybe I was just more enthusiastic.
so maybe
but we're
scratch
feeling
all
the same
of that
things.
about us saying Shonen Chumps official Dylan statement.
It's 8.5 or 9. I think. Go on.
all these scores are soft.
Yeah, top 5.
My closing thoughts. I had a lot of fun. This was a really fun movie. Went into it with zero expectations, had no idea what it was about, was pleasantly surprised, was pleasantly thrown back to a different movie that I liked. Yeah, I would recommend it to anybody. It was fantastic. It was funny. I would watch it again. I'd watch it again soon. It's not like I'd have to take some time from this because I feel like going back and watching this a second time, even if it was in Japanese, differences aside, I feel like you'd be able to pick up on all the things that you were kind of oblivious to because you were supposed to be oblivious to those things, and maybe appreciate the way it kind of delivers the story more, even.
Yeah,
Right.
picking up on more of the subtleties from the
Yeah.
beginning.
So, that being said, yeah, I loved it. I had a good time. I'm not gonna give it a score because I have too much of that shit in my life.
What?
as it is.
No.
I feel like you might have to.
Yeah.
What? Man.
Can you assign a word to it?
This is soft.
I'm gonna
give it a 9.
I would love to give
it an
a
8.
word to it. I would
Yeah.
hate to give a number to it.
Okay, choose a word.
Heartwarming. No, wait, that's a little too
Give it a
on the
number.
nose. Fuck, man. All right, fine. 8.4.
Oh
You
God,
heard it
I
first.
hate
You-
numbers like that. You asshole.
Yeah. Suck it. Suck my dick.
Nobody uses the 100-point scale. It's awful.
I do because you made me this. This is
fair
what
enough.
you made me.
Fair enough.
You wanted a number. I gave
I'd
you
say-
a number.
I'd say I probably wouldn't rush back to see this again
Yeah.
anytime soon. I'd probably want time away from it. Something that just occurred to me was that, okay, it's a love story. I know we're supposed to like have our closing thoughts. I just want to like propose this question.
Sure.
It's a love story.
Yeah.
You find out that they're in love, I guess, like near the end.
Yeah.
But they never know each other. They just like kind of, it's like reading about somebody in a textbook and falling in love.
That's the thing. I thought about this as well because it is that like anime fantasy love where it's kind of like love at first sight where they see each other and then they just know and it's written in the stars and it's magical and it's fated to be and they cross time to get to one another. In that way, it's kind of unrealistic and cheesy, but because of the time constraints and because of the way it just goes about delivering itself, I feel like I was able to suspend my disbelief enough that it was passable.
Yeah, on that, I would say that I'm not sure they know they love each other. We don't really get much of her perspective until right at the end. But I'm not sure he knows because he goes on that date with the other girl and she says, "Oh, like you love someone else," and he almost seems to like not really.
He writes it on her hand though. Instead
Yeah,
of
I'm
his
saying
name.
what I was gonna say is I think they only, or at least he discovers it like in that moment when they kind of have that
Connect.
moment together. I think
Yeah.
the parts leading up when he's just like living in her body, he doesn't know it yet. It's not like he
He's
just
just
knows it
Right.
there.
grabbing boobs.
Right.
Yeah. So like that's what I drew from it, I guess.
Well, that's interesting.
That
I
he
guess-
wasn't really aware until that moment. Even if he was
Right.
developing feelings, like you said, he probably
Right.
was.
He
would
accepted
have to
it.
be, I guess, developing feelings during that time. But I
Yeah.
think the realization only came when they got that moment together.
Right.
Yeah.
Like he fell in love in that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
That's fair. I would give that a thumbs up.
Yeah, so that's an
I can.
interesting thought to end off on.
Yeah,
I guess.
thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I was reading an article saying that if you really liked Your Name, maybe you should watch this other anime film called The Girl Who Leapt Through Time.
Yeah.
Down.
So, like, I don't know. This was fun. I guess I'd be down to watch another anime movie and, like, talk about that sometime in the future.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Keep your ears open because maybe we'll do that.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in.
Let us know your thoughts on this.
Yeah.
on
Hit
this
us up
movie.
however you can. We have a comment section. We have a Twitter at Shonen Chumps.
Yeah.
Tweet at us. Tell us we're dumb.
Tell us your favorite part of the movie.
Tell us your name.
Tell us your favorite.